One of the things that counting fish at the bottom of the Atlantic shows you is how easy it is to access and deploy this technology. The fact that you can just couple a waterproof camera up to the cloud and use a routine that sits in the cloud to make some intelligent decision about what's swimming past the lens. It just points to the fact that how easy it is to access and then translate that technology into value at the end of the day. So, I mean, the perfect storm is the thing that's accelerating the power and the growth of AI. And those four forces that I talked about, the compute power that's now accessible, the algorithms that we're then running on that compute power, the data through which we're fueling and training the models that we develop with AI, and then that connectivity and scalability that we get through the cloud. They are things that have only come together in the last few years, and they're now exponentially ramping up not just the power of AI, but the application of AI and the translation of that AI into value for society. Well, I mean, ultimately we would want individuals to own that power, to own their data. And one of the things that Microsoft is very, very strong in its advocacy of is greater regulation around the world that enable individuals to have greater power over their data. I talked about this basic digital contract of data for utility. The more that we can get everybody in society able to understand that transaction between the value of the data that they're giving away and then the return that they're getting in terms of utility, that will enable us to navigate most of these challenges that are presented by these applications more proficiently. Yeah, I mean, there's something in the power and the coding associated with AI that makes it very easy to lose perspective of where you're really going with it. It encourages you down little funnels of investigation and application. And we know from experience that without humility, without being able to step back and examine what we're really doing in these spaces, that can sometimes lead us into challenging areas. So what we take great lengths to do is to make sure that in all of our development processes, but also our supervision processes that exist once these routines are released into the wild, that we are building that broader perspective, that broader humility, not settling on some recognition of success, in order to make sure that we broaden our view and identify those problems early. I think it's still incredibly simplistic to say that machines are ripping through great swathes of human creative behavior. When you look a little bit deeper, you're probably finding that some of those more routinized tasks that are part of your creative toolset are being automated. But there's still plenty of opportunity for that beautiful, irrational brain that you have to appear. More widely, when you think about the impact of AI in terms of automation and its displacement of work generally in society. I mean, we've been doing this ever since we moved from an agrarian economy into the Industrial Revolution. We've stopped doing things and allowed machines to do those things, and we've moved to spaces that we never anticipated since. I don't underestimate some of the challenges that will happen in that transition. But generally, I am confident as a society that there's sufficient space for human beings alongside machines. Absolutely. Our perspective, and much of what I was talking about in my talk, was Microsoft's editorial view on what AI is. And we are very, very exercised about considering AI from its role in augmenting humans, not replacing, not supplanting humans, but we recognise that the value of AI occurs when you connect it with human beings. And I think that's going to enable society to get as much benefit as it should get out of this wonderful technology. So the three I's that I left as my little takeaway at the end of the talk were firstly intelligence, and I use intelligence as being the representation of the technology that sits here, that creation of cognitive horsepower that sits there in the heart of AI. Accessing that and understanding how you access that through the cloud is a really key first step for organisations. The second bit is recognising that actually you'll only be able to connect that raw horsepower into successful outcomes by coupling it with irrational human ingenuity. And ingenuity is my second I. And then the final bit, which is something that maybe isn't so obvious, but is something that's really important to us as a company, is inclusivity. Because when we look at the challenges facing ourselves with bias and ethics and trust in AI, what we've learned is that the most diverse and inclusive that you can possibly get will be your great defense against exposing yourself to those risks. So that's intelligence, ingenuity and inclusivity. Putting those three together, they're the key enablers of success with AI.
So no Terminator future?
No Terminator, no Skynet, no nothing.